What the crap? Oh. Sorry about that. Christy won the Fellowship for Followers of Christ. I don't want to turn the spotlight on because it shines right in my eyeballs, and I was trying to sleep, and I still haven't slept. I still can't sleep. I know. Put down the phone long enough, and then you can fall asleep. Right. Probably true. And honestly, I probably need to go plug my phone up in a completely different room on the opposite side of the house, so that while I'm laying here trying to fall asleep, and suddenly something pops into my head that convinces me, like, right now, you need to do this thing before you fall asleep. Like, for example, I had put my phone away and I was trying to fall asleep. And then I just needed to hear Seminole Wind. Like, I just really needed to hear Seminole Wind. And I tried to listen to it, but then, the technology, because I can't just, it's not like you just put a tape in the tape deck and push play, and the only thing you get, the only stimulation you get, is getting to hear the song you want to hear. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Heaven forbid we should just be able to enjoy individual things. No, we gotta have a distraction box that's our one-stop shop for everything, It's funny because when I used to go to Bailey's and play the Mega Touch, or just like when I was working there, when I would get off work, it was like how I would unwind or whatever. And I did waste way too much money on that, but they called it the crack box, and that's why, because people would they would get hooked, and they would sit there and they would feed dollar after dollar after dollar and play those games, right? And then I made the dumb statement, which basically, I guess, like, gave permission to go ahead with what was already in development, but that wasn't my intention. I made the dumb statement out loud to a coworker that if they would just make it to where I could play those games like on my phone and touch my phone screen instead of the screen of the, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, they can do that. I don't know why they don't. Like, there's touch screens here. There's we put in orders on like, everything's a touch screen. So, like, I can just totally. Actually, at the time, I think I didn't want it to be on my phone necessarily. I was just like, if I could just, like, do this at home, like my computer at home, like, I could sit at home and play this game. I wouldn't have to come here and put all my money in this box. Anyway, what made me get out the camera and record? Oh, yes, I was having a mental dialogue, and it was about predators. So frustrating, because I had a really good stream of consciousness going, and apparently I wasn't supposed to record it or share it with anyone, even though it felt very important, because now that I've pulled out the camera, it distracted me from the stream of consciousness, and now I don't remember what I was thinking, what I was talking to myself in my mind about. Like, actually, I think I was talking out loud. Anyway, what were the thoughts, Lord? Can you please bring them back into my mind if you truly want me to share them? No, I just keep hearing Michael Jackson. Everybody, whoa. Mama say, mama say, mama kusa. Mama say, mama say, mama kusa. Okay. I guess I need to look up what that actually means. Like, I know there's something to it. It's not just gibberish, but I don't know what he's saying. Do you remember what I was saying? Because I know you were listening to me through my phone. Well, okay, fine. Is there anything important that you would like for me to share, or is this a moot point now, just a lesson for me? Because I have not been as obedient as I want to be. Like, I hear, like, put your phone away, turn the light off, and close your eyes. And I'll attempt it. I will attempt it. It was 555. I just, for some reason, my brain just, the oh yeah, okay. So the whole thing about us not being able to have good things because bad people will use our good things for bad. Oh, right. And so they think like this is so silly. They think that like they can like eliminate source, like eliminate God, whatever, Allah, whatever name you want to put on, but like source, the actual source, they think that they can like eliminate source in some capacity, but then take source's place being the opposite and still receive this like they imagine thinking that you could crucify Christ, behave like the Antichrist, but then still receive what Christ would have received in terms of blessings and powers and favor and accolades, like recognition, the energy that other people like. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine thinking that there is any world in which you can attempt to snuff out the individual that source put here to be, what it is you apparently want to be, which, again, I find it completely insane that anyone would want to be God. Like, why would you want that? Why would you want the responsibility of being in, like, it's because they're obsessed with power and control, but they don't understand that it's not about, like, that's, if God was about power and control, Israeli police block Catholic. It's funny because almost every time I post something about Israel, I immediately get a ground notification from Ground News that they're like they just double down. They double down. They double down. They double down. Like you're so mentally ill. Why are you so mentally ill? What is wrong? I think Israel needs help. Like what's weird is they developed the therapy platform. That's why I had to stop seeing my therapist on BetterHelp, because something kept telling me to stop using that platform and stop talking to her. And I learned that it's funded by like it's that's what they do. They create platforms and programs and companies and products and things that they know that we want, need, well, first they create conditions for us to need those things, and then they create the things, but the whole time the purpose is not for them to provide the service to us. The purpose is for them to exploit our need for the service by utilizing the technology in such a way it's so stupid. And if Okay, so it feels like what they think is that if they can convince everyone that God's not real, so people won't believe in God, then they can step in and they can take on the role of God, but do the opposite of what God intends. And like that's somehow just going to work out for them. It's just the level of clinical insanity is astonishing. And if you truly were what you claim to be, you would be like, what am I supposed to do with all this power? How do I handle this power? Teach me, show me what to do so that I don't wield this power, you know, in the wrong way. Like, the fact that you want to use your power for evil is exactly why you don't have any, and why you have to go to such great lengths just to create the illusion of power. You know? These people, they go to such great lengths. This is why they're always like making a big deal about North Korea and trying to like prove to everyone how fake everything is in North Korea, and that it's, you know, like it's all for show, and they're not really as powerful as they pretend to be, which may or may not be true. But what difference does it make? As far as I can tell, they're not really actually hurting anyone. They're just trying to make sure that no one attempts to come in and hurt them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if Israel was truly like concerned about their own safety and the safety of their own citizens, and not like the attempt to expand and take over and like dominate and control everything, like if they truly just wanted to be in their homeland and be safe and not be threatened by the outside world, then they would behave. You know what I mean? Like that's what they would do. They wouldn't be doing everything to try to control everybody, to try to have their hands in everything going. Like they feel that they need to put their mark on literally everything in existence, because I guess they feel left out. Like, I don't understand it. It's so stupid. You betrayed God multiple times, continuously, repeatedly, intentionally, over and over and over and over and over. And it didn't matter how many times you were rescued. It didn't matter how many times you were forgiven. It did not matter how many times you were lifted back up and placed back into a position of power, you know, to be able to use the power for good this time. Every single time you chose to use the power for evil. Every time. So you don't have power. You can't be chosen if every time you are chosen, you choose to do the opposite of what you're chosen to do. What makes you think that you're going to continue being chosen if in your mind being chosen means you can do what you want to do? Like, you can't be chosen and then choose to do the opposite of what... Thank you, God. Yeah, I heard that. I hear it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is 14:14, free will. People don't understand. You think God is about power and control and domination. If God was about power and control and domination, God would not have given free will. That is the point. That is the point. Is to give your creation life of its own, autonomy, 14:41, the ability to choose its own path. Because then you'll know when your creation still chooses the path you wanted, or not even necessarily the path you wanted, but When your creation chooses the path of righteousness, the higher path, the good path, whatever, 15-15, there are a lot of different choices, okay? And every choice you make is either bringing you closer back to source or taking you further away from source. And when you start choosing things that are bringing you closer back to source, like that's how source knows that you are ready to actually have the power and the authority to be a game changer on the planet. Like, how do you not get how this works? If you're choosing the path that takes you away from source, then why would you think source would continue choosing you? Why would source give you power and control when you demonstrate consistently that you will use that power and control for evil instead of good? You don't learn from your mistakes. You don't learn, you don't learn. You do bad things constantly to harm others unnecessarily for your own selfish gain, and you never learn your lesson. And it's time you learned your lesson, and it's going to be a hard lesson to learn, and it sucks how bad it's going to have to be because you refuse. It would be so much easier if you would just say, you know what? Maybe I need to go sit down over here and think about some stuff. Maybe I'm not what I thought I was. You know what I mean? Like maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe I need to go over here and take a time out and consider my choices. But like, you don't do that. None of you do that. You just insist that you're supposed to be the ones in control and that you deserve to be at the helm. You're steering us straight into the iceberg at full speed, but you insist that you're the best person to steer the ship. Okay. I mean, you do realize that when the ship hits the iceberg, we're all going down. Not just you. I mean, not just us, right? Like you're going to crash the car to kill everybody else as if somehow you're going to survive the crash. When what's really going to end up happening is you're going to crash the car and you're going to kill all of yourselves. And then we're still going to be here. Like we'll be okay. I mean, it'll suck what we're going to have to go through and how long it's going to take to rebuild. But like, we're still going to be here and we're going to be able to build the world that we deserve. And instead of crashing the car in the first place, you could just go sit down and take a time out and maybe speak with a therapist and let us get to work building the world that we deserve the whole time. Like, it's not necessary for it to go this far. You force it to go this far because you insist on control, world domination, and the psychosis of insisting on world domination while simultaneously pretending like it is insane. Not even insane. Anti-Semitic. It is anti-Semitic for anyone to even think that what you want is to dominate the world. How? How is it insane or 1919 discriminatory or racist or xenophobic or anti-Semitic or any of those? How is it any of those things for us to see what's happening in front of our eyes? How do you not grasp that you're the one with the mental illness? And how have the butterfly catchers not came and taken you away? Like, that's really what's crazy to me, is there was a time, I'm not saying we should go back to it because I understand that the people at the helm were not using, they were catching us, right? They were catching us and locking us up. But like, if y'all were able to use that to institutionalize us, then how is it not? How have others not figured out how to take your own tactics, turn them around, and use them against you? It shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be difficult to take mentally ill people out of positions of power. People who are exhibiting very obvious and very dangerous signs of dementia, psychosis, narcissistic personality disorder, psychopathy, sociopathy, whatever, antisocial, like you can put a bunch of words out there, but you know what I mean. People who make it very, very, very clear that they have one goal and one goal only, and that is to do exactly what they want to do at the expense of everyone else. And they will literally kill us all and destroy the entire planet in order to make it happen. And everyone else is like, oh God, well, we can't piss them off because look at what they'll do. So we're just going to all live in the shadow of captivity of individuals who are insane because we're concerned about like what'll happen if we confront them about it. We're concerned about what will happen if we remove them from power. So basically what you're telling me is the US can go around to all of these nations and intentionally topple governments to serve your own agenda, to serve your own capitalistic, greedy agenda. But you can't do the same thing, 2222, when it's literally a matter of national security and making sure that our citizens are safe. And the world at large, of course. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm not big on... It sounds contradictory. I'm not big on nationalism, but at the same time, you have to be... You have to start local, you know? You have to start in your own place. And you have to secure your own place first, and then work diplomatically and cooperatively with everyone else. Like, it's not this weird ass like thing where you think that this is some kind of video game. This is some kind of you know what I mean? Like, you're here to just conquer, divide and conquer, and like take over as much. Like, no, you're not. You're the one who's mentally ill. You're here to grow and learn and heal your soul. But you're not doing that because apparently you've convinced yourself that you're here on a mission from God to destroy everyone and everything else until you have everything that you want. And then what? People who seek power for the sake of having power, they don't know what to do with the power once they have it. And that's why they never stop seeking it. When they have the power, they're like, they just need to feel powerful. They just need to feel powerful. If they actually had the real power, they wouldn't know what to do with it. But then at the same time, it's just like, it's like they don't know. They don't comprehend that the accumulation of things is not the goal. Like the accumulation of power, the accumulation of wealth, the accumulation of stuff, the accumulation of property, like the goal is not to accumulate as much as you possibly can. That's hoarding. That's hoarding. Period. Doesn't matter what you're hoarding, you're hoarding. the goal is well, the goal first of all is individual personal growth and development. Um, but then beyond that, it's to to enjoy, life and having these physical biological experiences. Um, but like learning to coexist with others, learning to cooperate with others, learning to get along with people with whom you don't even agree, like learning how to find common ground with people that, you know what I mean? Like finding ways to come together and know it's not necessarily going to be all kumbaya. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. There's going to be conflict, but the conflict doesn't need to be this big. It's so stupid to sit here and intentionally create conflict and blow the conflict way out of proportion just because. Just because it makes some people some money when you do it that way. Life could be so much simpler. It could be so much simpler and so much more peaceful. And apparently they don't want that. They don't want peaceful, simple, concise. I'm not saying you can't have nice things. I'm not saying you can't have variety, but like we don't need a whole entire aisle at the grocery store just for chips and cookies. That's insane. Especially when you think about the fact that out of all those different brands of chips and cookies on that shelf, there's really only like 4 choices, maybe, if you're lucky, in terms of the actual chain of command of who owns and manufactures what you're eating. And either way, homemade chips and cookies are so much better. They taste better. They're better for you. Yeah, they take effort, which is good because you won't eat as many of them as often. You won't. If I'm making my own chips and cookies at home, and I'm not saying, because I still sometimes I buy things. I'm not saying you can't ever have any chips or cookies, whatever. I'm not coming for your chips and your cookies. I'm trying to point out the absurdity of consumption-driven society. Like, when you make your own chips and cookies, you can make them exactly how you like them with the ingredients that you like. You can make them taste exactly how you want them to taste. You can work on perfecting the art of making the food you love exactly the way you love it. And then you have that. You have that skill, and you have the food that you love and that works for you. And it does take work. And that's why you're not going to sit and down a whole entire bag of chips while you're binge watching, whatever. Because you can't. Because you got to go and you got to wash the potatoes and you got to, it depends on who you are and how you do things. I'm fine. I just cut it in slices and put it in the oil and let it fry. Like, I have an air fryer too. Like, I can do it different ways, but I'm just saying, yeah, I do sound like I'm rambling like Trump now. Thank you. I don't mean to, but whatever. You can do it different ways, different flavors. You can do so much. And it's so much better when you do that. But we succumbed to their bullcrap that allowed us to be lazy. Convenience, Oh, this way we have so much more time on our hands. And we fell for it. And I'm saying we collectively because I wasn't even alive when the microwave was invented. I just grew up and there was always a microwave. And then it was weird to me the first time I went to someone's house and they didn't have a microwave. I was like, what do you mean you don't have a microwave? How do you function without a microwave? Like 99% of what we eat comes out of the microwave. If that's how you're raised, you think that's just how it is. But they convinced you. They convinced you that it was for your convenience so you would have more time on your hands. But really it wasn't. It was so that they could pump as much labor out of you as possible. And also simultaneously get you to consume as much as possible to continue this perpetual cycle of production, purchase, consumption, waste. Yeah, exactly. Production, purchase, consumption, waste, disposal. Like, it's just a never-ending cycle until the whole entire planet is a landfill. And then when the whole entire planet is a landfill, I guess by then they will have hopefully figured out how to colonize Mars. I don't know, whatever. It's so dumb. It's so incredibly dumb. It's so dumb. It's mind-blowing how dumb some people are. You almost feel sorry for them, but then you remember that they're out here murdering babies, and you're like, oh yeah, no, screw them. Anyway, I did not mean to go off on this tangent, and I don't remember what I came here to talk about, as usual. 3113. But, yeah, there you go. I don't know who this will help, if it helped anyone at all, but I hope it helps someone today. Just remember, you are loved. You are forgiven. You can be saved. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you. You can repent. You can repair. You can be redeemed. Much love.